Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. What's the scariest you have ever acted towards another human being? I had just left my apartment to walk over to my buddy's place. I pulled out a pack of cigarettes and went to light up, and there were these two guys around 18 or so just walk over and demand my pack. Now if they would have just said something like, "Hey mate, got a spare one?" I probably would have given him one. But he tried to snatch my pack out of my jacket pocket. And as I tried to stop him, he said to his buddy, "Get his wallet." And I just ducking lost it. I grabbed this guy's shirt and just punched him as hard as I could in the nose and mouth a few times. He falls over backwards and starts actually crying. Like, has 7 and skinned his knee. It was embarrassing and kinda made me feel bad. But that's what happens when you rob a stranger. They break your nose. His friend called me the psycho. Good times. Long ago I was a teenager and hanging with my friend at my favorite park. The park has a railway bridge about 40-50 feet above a shallow creek with a lot of large and nasty rocks. Unfortunately it was known for having a few jumpers. My friend and I were by one end of the bridge, sitting on the embankment, when a teen girl walks up. As it was late night, we were wearing all black. As I said, teenager, and we quieted up. When she walked up, she did not notice us. She walked up to the end of the bridge and just kept staring down in a way that made me think she was debating jumping. I motioned to my friend and we walked up quietly behind her. "Long way down, ISN, not it?" I said. From right behind her. She turned around startled, and I just went on, looking down, with a 100-mile stare. The worst part is halfway down you realize, oh god, I don't want this, but it's too late, and you hit the bottom, and then you hit and feel the agony of your body against the rocks for what seems forever. She turns back and looks down, and while she's looking away I grab my friend and we jump back down onto the embankment. So we're just a few feet away, but because of the darkness, the black clothing, and the steep angle, she does not see us. When she turns back, she looks around frantically for a while and then just runs away. To sum it up, I either stopped a suicide or scared the hell out of an innocent girl for no reason. The important thing, however, is that I amused myself. Now, let me begin this story with he was totally asking for it, begging for it, even. This happened not even a half hour ago, as I'm typing this from an airport terminal with my heart still pounding and a grin on my face. Before I passed through the check-in I decided to take a bathroom break. Number 2. Inside the stall there was a distinct lack of hooks, so I instead draped my jacket over the door and thought nothing of it. Now, I was just wiping up when I felt somebody enter the bathroom. Then I heard a pair of feet walk in front of my stall. Then I saw someone peek under the door. My legs snapped closed, but the face was gone as soon as it was there. Then my jacket was gone as well. The man had pulled it from the door. Now, had it just been my jacket, I might have cursed the guy to 7 hells. Finished my malarkey and reported the offense, but my boarding ticket was in the pocket. This changed the game completely. Pants still around my ankles. Was up in a second and shouldering the door open in even less time. The door caught the thief on either the back of the legs or the ass. No matter which one. He stumbled into the sink. I followed suit and caught him around the neck with one arm, the other reaching over his shoulder to snatch at my jacket. He was wearing gym shorts. I was wearing no shorts. My dick was flopped against the back of his leg. We seemed to both realize this at the same time. But I reacted first, taking a gamble that could have resulted in myself using the female restroom from that point on. I neither retreated nor adjusted, instead squashing myself against the guy all the more and, mouth very close to his ear, began shouting, "You know what that is? You know what that is?" over and over again. He choked out the bastard child of what the duck and Jesus Christ, cast my jacket upon the floor, and tried to shake me off. His hostage free from harm. I allowed him to do so, and he ran out. I managed to retain my decency before anyone else came in, and half an hour later, here I am. To sum it up, humped a would-be thief's leg into submission. In high school, I was a shy, quiet outcast that did not really talk to anyone. A group of girls in my choir class decided that they hated me and always tried to pick on me any chance they got. One time I was entering the restroom as one girl was walking out, and she deliberately jabbed her pencil-thin heel into my ankle as she went to walk past. "Watch where you're ducking going, ditch," she said. She went to exit the restroom and I slammed *THE door full force into her back, causing her to fall onto her face and make her drop and scatter all her malarkey all over the hallway. "Learn how to walk in those heels, ditch," I retorted. She tried to beat me up later, but I pulled her hair extensions out before anything happened and made her friends laugh at her. Oh, high school. I typed in all caps at a stranger on the internet once, but really, the scariest I have ever been was when I was about 7 or 8. This kid who used to bully me, named Dylan, was showing off his new baseball bat. He decided to pick up a rock and hit it like he would hit a baseball. It flies across the street hitting my 2-year-old sister in the neck. I tackled Dylan and started choking him. His friends pulled me off, but before they could get me completely off, I kicked Dylan in the face, breaking his nose. I have never been so angry before or since. My sister had to go to the hospital and get several stitches, but she was alright in the end. I have a somewhat similar story. All the kids in my neighborhood used to hang out and play wiffle ball almost every day during the summer. I was the only girl in a big crowd of boys, which made me an easy target for teasing. This one kid would not stop teasing me, so I got fed up and punched him as hard as I could in the nose. I was taking a karate class at the time, so I could land a solid punch. His nose started pouring blood, and apparently little 5-year-old me had broken the kid's nose. I'd never hit anybody before, so I ran off crying and got off scot-free. Needless to say, the guys never picked on me after that. Edit. Side note, we later became best friends. I was on my motorcycle a few weeks back when this soccer mom in her minivan pushed me off the road into a ditch. She saw what she did after, shrugged it off and kept driving. Saw her through her side mirror. Ditch looked right at me as I struggled to keep the bike up. I pull myself together and get back on the road. 2-3 minutes later, I get caught back up to her and she is still talking on her ducking phone. Insert rage face here. I pass her and give her the bird. About 30 seconds later, I come to a stop sign. Ditch nearly rear ends me and skids, still talking on her phone. Something someone said on the other end of the line made her laugh. This sent me over the edge. I kick down my side stand, hop off my bike, and walk up to her window. At a 4-way stop sign, mind you. Cars on every side. She rolls down her window and tells the person on the other line to hold on a secretary and proceeds to tell me, "WTF are you doing? You are holding up traffic." I lost it. I reached into her window, grabbed her pretty iPhone in the pink case out of her hand, throw it as hard as I can at her front window, smashing it and the phone in the process. Calmly walk back to my bike and proceed on with my day. I take the train to and from work every day. New York City. One day I was getting home later than usual from work, which was late to begin with. I had to go to the bathroom, something fierce and cold, and not wait until I got to my apartment. So I sucked it up and used the subway bathroom. While walking there, out of the corner of my eye, I notice a guy who was following about 10 paces behind me. I start to weave left and right and he's still following me. I decide to stop short, pull out my phone, and pretend like I'm looking at it. There were other people there, and I felt like if I stopped to do something unexpected, he'd get the message, and if he were caught red-handed following me, he'd have to have stopped short too. He would know I knew he was following me. He kept walking, and I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking I was safe. I enter the bathroom and pee. I get out a few minutes later, and he's there waiting for me, but again about 10 paces away. By this time, everyone who was on the train was now gone and up on the streets, so it was just us. Inside I was terrified, but I could not show him that. I glance his way, then start to walk. He starts to follow me again. At this point, I put my hand in my bag. My father used to make me carry his Bowie knife. I know. Because I worked late as a waitress at the time, and unsnap the sheath and start to finger the handle, terrified of the possibility of having to use it. At this point I know full well he's following me. He bumps into my back, full body press, and I whip around and put the knife up to him and deadpan, "If you touch me again, I will slit your throat and leave you here to bleed out." I actually remember saying that. I gave him the deadest, coldest, craziest look I could muster, but inside I was more scared than I have ever been in my entire life. Now mind you, I'm terrified of being hurt or maimed, and I'm a general scaredy cat at all times. But I was born and raised in the city and do not duck around when it comes to my safety. I was not going to get raped or hurt, and I will be damned that malarkey was not going to go down in a ducking subway station of all places. He looked stunned, stuttered "I'm sorry," and continued walking. My heart was beating a mile a minute. I was fully bracing myself for a fight of some sort, but he just walked away. It was a complete knee-jerk reaction, and I know that carrying a ducking huge knife is not really a good idea, because what if he had one too and it escalated? But thank goodness for my dad. Really. To sum it up, went Rambo on a dude who was possibly trying to rob or grope me in a subway station. Turns out I had a knife and he did not. He walked away scared. Message from the Reddit Rainforest. This malarkey takes forever to edit. If you are enjoying the video, show your support with a like. And subscribe if you have not already. I was on my way home from work when I received a garbled text from my GF. I texted back and did not get an answer, so proceeded home like nothing had been sent and just figured she was drunk. When I arrived home there was no one around, and after making myself dinner I called her and asked where she was. She was drunk and accused me of cheating on her, so I hung up. I went to bed, and a little later that night I awoke to her standing next to the bed shouting thing like, "You think you're going to get away with this?" My eyes adjusted and I saw that she had a knife and was beyond pissed off. She swung the knife at my face as I rolled away, and then I totally lost it. I do not remember everything clearly, but I know I decked her straight in the mouth and knocked her to the floor. She cut my foot pretty bad as I proceeded to try to get away. She ran after me with the knife and I punched her again, this time getting cut on my arm as she fell and passed out from the blow. When she woke up I had the knife and had called the police. I sat on her chest with the knife to her face and promised to lend your ducking miserable existence if you try to manipulate this. I have called. Well, call him Joe, and given him the address to your son's school and your mom's address. So if you expect me to go to jail because you're crazy, I'll have them taken care of. Needless to say, I scared the malarkey out of myself with that comment, even though I never called Joe nor told him anything. I have never hit a woman before, but I feel that was justified, and so did the police. But I have never seen that side of me and hope I never have to again. BTW, she was an awesome GF up to this point and have no idea what the hell happened. I talked to her once to give her the key and that was it. I got the duck out of there fast. The police took her away, but decided there was not much more they could charge her with than assault / a deadly weapon. It cycled through the courts and she got a good layer. In the end she got 2 years of probation. To sum it up, girlfriend got drunk and tried to stab me, knocked her out and threatened her, so she did not flip the script on me. Cops agreed. I was not serious when I threatened her. It was just my ducked up way of keeping her from saying I beat her when the cops showed up. I made a throwaway since this could technically get me in some pretty big trouble. I'm a very tiny girl, and I'm a lucky you not. Last spring after leaving a Reddit meetup, I had to take the train home. It's extremely late at night. I'm walking alone. I know / and trains do not come as often. I get down to the bottom of the tunnels and nobody's down there except for 4 Brazilian guys. As I walk past them, I could hear they were saying something in Portuguese along the lines of, "Well, get her. Well, get her. It's too late to notice. It's empty." Although I look purely Nordic, part of my family is also European Portuguese, and I heard a lot of it growing up. I started to ducking panic. I tried to look like I did not notice, so I pretended to get my phone out of my bag. But I always kept a knife on me, even though I swore I could never do anything with it. It was early spring, so long sleeves still applied. Now one came up to me on my left, 2 behind me, and 1 who stayed behind to watch for people. They started saying all these disgusting things to me in English, and 1 started touching me, telling me to talk dirty to him. When the 1 next to me grabbed my wrist and 1 started charging, I let out the knife I had slipped up my right sleeve and dug the malarkey out of it into the side of his thigh. He screamed and grabbed his leg, and I twisted it as hard as I could, and then he dropped to the ground. Here I was, holding this bloody little knife I took from my dad with my dress covered in someone else's blood. I turned around to see the 2 behind me had stopped running at me, and I don't know what it was, but my adrenaline was pumping so hard I yelled back in Portuguese, "How ducking deep do you want it, baby?" flailing the knife in a twisting gesture. They had no idea I had understood them earlier. They froze in disbelief. I heard a train coming, so I threw the knife into the bottom of my now ruined bag, got on and left. I blankly stared at them in the window, pointing to them individually, mouthing, 1, 2 to freak them out more, while they grabbed their wounded friend. Nobody ever found out. Story never made the news. I left my knife in an enzyme wash at home in a bucket overnight, doused it in bleach, and threw it in a swamp the next day. Welcome to the end of the video. Do not worry, there are many more. Come aboard for more adventures. Like and subscribe for more posts from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.